Picture this, you just got home after 6 hours of traveling into and back from West Virginia. Your scout is on their first ever week of summer camp, and you cannot wait to just lie around the house and enjoy all the free time. But before you have a chance to watch the newest Roaming Scouter video in hopes of drowning out that dang John Denver song that's been stuck in your head the whole trip to the place I belong, your phone rings and you hear, "Mom, Dad, can you please come pick me up?" Well, let's talk about that. This scenario is all too common among scouting parents, and it is even more common the younger a scout is in age and in the program. But don't fret, my friend, I'm here to help you mitigate that from happening.
Spare us your medical mumbo-jumbo.
Yes, I said mitigate because you can do everything that I'm about to talk about, and you're still gonna get that phone call.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose.
But if you're new to this channel, we're on a mission to inspire and inform new scouting parents and adult leaders. And this video is more focused on those parents who are sending their scouts to summer camp for the first time ever. Summer camp is likely to be the highlight of your scout's year. It's a chance for your scout to experience a lot of firsts in their life. First time sleeping in a canvas tent with all manner of insects.
Hi, how are you?
First time jumping into a lake and touching lake mud with their foot. Maybe their first time shooting a bow and arrow into a bullseye.
Robin Hood.
However, the biggest first for a lot of Weeblos is their first time away from mom and dad for an extended period of time. Your scout may have spent a night at like a friend's house or maybe an extended weekend at grandma's, but this is different. Summer camp is different from Cub Scout day camp because at summer camp, your scout is not getting picked up daily and brought home. They are staying multiple nights out in the field with their fellow scouts. And that can be a big shock to scouts whose only experience with camping may have been with the family or the pack over a single weekend. Summer camp is like day camp in that your scout will earn adventure loops and pins.
I have 72 major awards.
This is also an event that is officially hosted by the district or council.
It's official.
And scouts are likely to have fun.
Why is no one having a good time? I specifically requested it.
However, in day camp, the scout is returned to their parents and they sleep in their own bed every single night. The final difference is the rank requirement. Any Cub Scout can go to day camp and earn adventure loops and pins. However, not all Cub Scouts can go to summer camp. In our council, and this may be different in yours, only Weeblos and Arrow of Lights can go to the multiple overnight stays at summer camp. And yes, your Weeblo and Arrow of Light can go to both events for maximum fun.
Well, that was fun. Good for you.
Now, with that all out of the way, let's talk about how you can mitigate losing your camp fee and multiple hours of your life driving back to camp to pick up little Timmy. The most common reason scouts return home is because of sickness and injury, homesickness, and not having fun. There's also the possibility of disciplinary issues, but thankfully those aren't very common. First, let's take a look at sickness and injuries. And we're not talking about minor sickness like an upset stomach or a minor cut. We're talking about allergic reactions, failure to take prescribed medications, or passing out due to hypoglycemia.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
This is, and I cannot stress this enough, the exact reason why scouts are required to bring a copy of their doctor-signed medical form parts A, B, and C. I, as an adult leader, taking your scout to camp, need to know about pre-existing medical conditions, medications, and other concerns that may come into play while at camp. Additionally, the camp staff needs to know so that they are properly prepared for any sort of rare medical requirement. Please do your adult leaders and camp staff a huge favor and get your medical forms completed early and ensure that they are brought with your scout to camp. The next concern as an adult leader is new shoes at camp. While your scout will likely request to wear Crocs the entire time, they can't. At least in my pack, we do put one hike on the schedule because a view like this is pretty hard to beat. However, if your scout has not had time to break in their boots or they show up with slip-on Vans, they are setting themselves up for blisters, bloody socks, and rolled ankles.
Ow, my ankle.
The best thing that you can do is buy a pair of supportive boots and have your scout spend some time in them to try to break them in. It is much better to identify a bad pair of boots at home versus out on the trail and at summer camp. This is also an opportunity for your scouts to practice hiking and getting physically ready for camp. While the hike up to Viewing Rock out at Goshen is only 1.5 miles one way, some of our scouts felt a little bit smoked once they got to the top. Taking your scouts out on a few hikes with some elevation gain in the months prior to summer camp is going to help prepare them for something a little more challenging when they do get to camp. I do plan to take my 2 sons out on the trail a few times over the course of the next few months to build up their endurance and to help film some footage for my videos, because hopefully I'm inspiring you to take your scouts on those trails or just explore your local area and see what trails you have around. If you like what we're doing here, do all that great YouTube stuff down below, but sharing these videos with your scouting friends is the best way to support the channel. Help us grow and we can go to all those new places for you and give you that on-the-ground perspective you want. I also make camping equipment recommendations in these videos here and put some other cool items in the description of this video. These are my Amazon affiliate links, which means that if you click and you buy your own pair of Gooder sunglasses, such as these Washington DC ones or National Park ones, or maybe you buy this Anchor battery pack that I'm going to review in a future video, we do receive a small commission at no additional cost to you. Really want to swim in some cash like Uncle Scrooge McDuck, and you can help make that happen. But speaking of swimming, how good of a swimmer is your scout? At every Scout summer camp with a pool or some sort of aquatic activity, scouts are required to take a swim test and earn their swimmer buddy tag. These small paper circles denote the swimming ability and level of your scout. There are 3 separate levels, which include a non-swimmer, a beginner swimmer, and a plain old swimmer. Of the 3 different levels, a non-swimmer is a scout who has not completed the swimmer's test. A beginner swimmer is a scout who has completed and passed the beginner swimmer's test. And a swimmer is someone who has completed and passed the whole swimmer's test. I will put up on the screen the actual requirements right here, so that way you can go ahead and assess what your scout should be doing at this time. It is highly recommended that you test your scouts early in the year to determine their swimming ability. The biggest reason is for safety. You don't want to wait until the scout is at summer camp and they fail or they catch a cramp because they haven't swam in like 9-10 months. Taking the test early allows you as an adult leader to recognize those scouts who are going to have some difficulty passing the test later on in the year. As a scouting parent, you want to give your scout the opportunity to get some time in the pool early in the year so that way they can build a better swimming base, so that way when they go to camp it's not that big of a shock. My son is a bit of a struggle swimmer, so I'm gonna get him back into the pool early this year to kind of shake off the winter. Now, point of clarification, even if your scout attempts the swimmer's test and they fail, that does not mean that they cannot take part in any of the aquatic activities. At last year's summer camp, scouts who failed the final portion of the test, that is, that last 75 yards in the swimmer's test, were classified as a beginner swimmer and were just required to wear a life jacket during those activities. Also, yes, you as an adult leader do have to complete the swim test as well. So maybe consider jumping into a pool in the coming months and practicing, because you don't want to be sent home early because you pulled a muscle.
Just pulled 1,000 muscles.
Now that we've covered all the physical injuries to worry about, let's talk about the mental ones. The topic of homesickness is nothing new to seasoned scouting leaders. It is expected that 1 or 2 of your solo scouts, that's those scouts whose parents are not present, will experience homesickness. This is completely normal and does not mean that you or the staff have done anything wrong. The scouts are experiencing a lot of firsts, and this is resetting their baseline. For example, scouts are likely used to playing video games or being on their phones daily. At summer camp, that's not a thing. Now, there is also the weather, because it might be hot and humid, or the scout is a picky eater and they're just not really liking the food. Finally, maybe it's their first time sleeping alone in a tent or sharing a tent with somebody who's not a family member. There's a tip I stumbled upon once my older scout got a little bit taller and he started kicking me in the kidneys in our 2-man tent. And that is having your scouts sleep alone in their own tent at a family campout or even a pack campout. I put my son in his own tent, and now he's just used to having his own space and being alone. However, there is no guarantee that this will work on your scout, because there are a ton of other factors that influence homesickness. But give it a try. They may enjoy it, and it may help with the homesickness at summer camp. But there is one guaranteed way to prevent you from getting that homesick phone call, and that is going to camp with your scout.
Feels a little anticlimactic.
That's right, you too can go to camp with your scout and maybe create some of the best memories of their childhood. Even if you are not an adult leader, you can register as a reserve scouter, knock out your YPT, pay the adult fee to go to camp, and go with your scout. No need to get a uniform or do any sort of wood badge singing. You can just grab your favorite fishing t-shirt and go along for the ride. You may even have a great time and think about getting more involved in Scouts in the future. But hey, if you are considering going to CUB SCOUT Summer Camp, check out this video here to figure out how you're going to power your CPAP machine when you're sleeping in one of these beautiful canvas tents. But with that, I've been Matt with Roaming Scouter, and I'll see you out there.